Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, our gratitude to Allah for having able us to be here on this very blessed Thursday afternoon in a state of good health and iman. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase our iman, increase our taqwa, and accept all of our ibadah for this month of Ramadan. Insha'Allah, ameen, ya Rabbil Alameen. So, insha'Allah, we are going through again some of the benefits of zikr. And yesterday, I think I spent at length, almost the whole session, about the effects of anxiety yesterday. And those are very important points for you to take note of. How do you connect with your Shaykh, your Murshid? And what we shouldn't bring into that relationship with our Murshid. And that is something that will have the adverse effect. In fact, I plan to do a series of lectures based on this. And what does it mean? And how do you actually connect with your Shaykh? I think it's very important in this day and age because there's a lot of practicality, but people don't have the theory behind it. Ni opposite pula. For zikr, it's very important. In fact, it's something that I wish to touch at the very last part of zikr of these sessions, is the importance of connecting with the Shaykh. And of course, in this day and age, there's a lot of bad press about this. And also because there are people who misuse it, both from the seeker perspective point and also from the Shaykh point. So how do you find out if that person is a real Shaykh? Of course, there are many dalils. People say the person must know Sharia, follow Sharia. Some even go and say they must know all the 4 madhabs, etc. Not necessarily. They must practice the Sharia. That's the main thing. And they must adhere to the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, because if not, then there's no path. Right? And then after that, when it comes to the way of the awliya, then there are many ways of the awliya. Imam al-Ghazali has a way, Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani and all this. But one thing that doesn't differ is the practicing of the outwardly sciences. That's really important. So that one. The other thing, more than just being a scholar, the Shaykh actually must know the way of ins and outs of the nafs. That's most important. And the tricks of shaitan. There's 2 things. The tricks of shaitan, the tricks of the ego, the tricks of love of the world, the tricks of nafsu, and the tricks of syaitan. Itulah saya cakap. These 4 things. The 4 enemies, right? So the Shaykh must know the attacks of the 4 enemies. And he must know how to protect you from it and protect himself from it, because it's also on him and his family, etc. So there's a lot of things that goes on. It's not just, I give you wirid, I'm now a Shaykh, I give you wirid, I give you wirid. That is one level of a Shaykh. There are mashaykh like that, they just give awrad, wirid. Ambil lah, tak salah, nothing wrong with that. But one who you go to seek guidance, this Shaykh is a Shaykh of tarbiyah, he must know the ins and out of these 4 things, minimum. You see? So a scholar doesn't necessarily know this, because this is something that you inherit, not from text only. Not what I said, not from text only. So Islam being a religion that is based on knowledge, iqra. But in the science of tasawwuf, it is also the science of practicality. That's where sohbah is very important. Ashab, where you create this companionship with your murshid. So this companionship is not, hi, hello, how are you? I mean, there's that level of companionship, but there's not companion, no? That's an acquaintance. A companionship is when you are able to take the goodness from the Shaykh. Take the goodness from the Shaykh. So the first thing in terms of connecting with your murshid, what you should be doing, is not just the visualization. There's many methods of this, of course. But the very basic thing is that you're able to recall the goodness that he has done. You get what I'm trying to say? The goodness that the Shaykh has done. So when you keep doing this, bit by bit, you will see that your connection with your Shaykh becomes stronger. It's not just a visualization process. Like how the companions, radiallahu alayhim ajma'in, they always recall the goodness of the Prophet ﷺ. So this is actually a sunnah of the companions. Like Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he also always recalls the goodness of Sayyidatina Khadija al-Kubra. And that's what he does. So this is the first level of tasawwur. That's why I always say suhbah, suhbah. Suhbah is to be in good companionship, like what our Murshid Khwaja Ehsanullah Shah has mentioned. When you're in the presence of the Shaykh, the presence of the Shaykh must be strong enough to take away your bad deeds. Maknanya your bad characteristics. You get what I'm trying to say? If you find it difficult to look for me from there, you can all move here. There's a lot of space here. Come. You get what I'm trying to say? So, it's not just a process of visualization, but it is a process of recalling the goodness that the person has done, the virtues of the Shaykh. And then when you sit and you do that, then you realize, oh, mashallah, I've benefited from him. So one of the benefits of zikr that you have taken with a tariqah is that you are also being connected with the salihin. This is the difference when you take zikr on your own from a kitab without a shaykh. There is no connection with the salihin. Now the real tarbiyah comes when you're connected with the salihin. You get what I'm trying to say? That's the reason why there's the saying, right? For those who don't have a shaykh, make salawat and then salawat to be your shaykh. But it's not just salawat. The salawat must evoke in you a good remembrance of the Prophet always. But with making it mechanical. Kita buat dia mechanical. So once it becomes mechanical, then it's just lip service. Of course, there's benefit in it. No one can deny the benefit of zikr with or without consciousness, with or without focus. Both has benefits with focus. There's definitely more benefits. Without focus pun ada benefits. Better than being empty. So that's the way you connect. So when you connect with your shaykh, and then he himself always connects with the goodness that his shaykh has done upon him. So it's a connection of what? Goodness upon goodness. Khair ala khair. Good upon good. Nur ala nur. Light upon light. Light upon light. Light upon light. Light upon light. And that's why Allahu nuru samawati wal ard. This light is not experienced just in terms of physical light, but also what the light makes you do. The light brings you out from darkness. Darkness is anxiety. Like what we spoke about. What are some of the characteristics yesterday? What was it? Narcissism was one of it. So there's spectrums of narcissism. And then what was it? What is not coming to me? Astaghfirullah al-azim. That you create your own self-deception, that's the word. Self-deception, very important. You deceive, you create this image which is not true of yourself. And usually when you're in a state of anxiety, the image that you create of yourself is always very dark. That you cannot get out of it. It becomes a cycle of darkness. Wali'adhu billah. Sebenarnya darkness ni is many. Zulum is jama', plural. Nur, satu lah kan? Because it's not Anwar, betul tak? We got Arabic teachers here in the group. They can correct me. Minal zulum is jama'. Nur, wahid, satu. Mufrad. It's not Anwar. Anwar is many lights. So this one light that we can identify with, at this level now, is to go to the light of, in a sense, your Shaykh lah, because he teaches you. That's why Sayyidina Ali said, we are indebted to the man who even teaches us one alphabet. What more, a person who brings you out from what? Darknesses, dhulum. And he brings you to the essence of that one night. Yani Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So that's why for me, I'm always indebted to my grandfather for teaching me what? La ilaha illallah, the suluk. That's the main thing he taught me. Not the kitabs, of course, hikam lah, apalah, itu semua orang pun boleh belajar. Tetapi one thing that you have inherited from your Shaykh or your Murshid or your Guru or whatever you have inherited is this: from darknesses to light. Many layers of darknesses. So if there is one thing that you must always remember to bring you out of your state of darkness and to connect you with the Salihin is the goodness that they have done upon you. And here being your Murshid. Man la yashkurillah, la yashkurin nas. Am I right? There is no thanking Allah if you cannot thank people. Zikr Salihin tanazzilur rahmah. If you remember the salih, orang yang baik, apa yang turun? Rahmah descends. So there's so many dalils, even Quran, I forgot which verse it is. Pray for your Muslim brothers and sisters, etc. There's so many things that talks about this. That's in fact the dalil for tahlil, to be reciting tahlil for your arwah. But all this, if you were to put it as a mureed, as a muhib, who is walking on this path towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether that person that has taught you the dhikr, you've taken bay'ah, that means you become a mureed. If you have not taken bay'ah, then you are muhib, a believer of the path. Either way, you've benefited from that person. Which means it is a sense of connection. You see? So how do you know if you are connected? First things, how do you know if you and that Shaykh have a sense of connection? The first thing that you will receive in your heart. So where must you receive this? Clarity. They're clear. Walaupun, even though there is anxiety, even though there is problems, but you understand a sense of what? Clear? Clarity to what? To the nur. That means there is light at the end of the tunnel. Because zulum doesn't teach you this. So you can be sitting with teachers who have taught you kitabs, etc. That's good. You get understanding where? In the mind. But from your Shaykh or Murshid and Tariqah, you get the understanding where? In the heart. And that heart will produce a clarity from wherever darknesses were at. So like yesterday I mentioned all the symptoms. So this is actually a deeper explanation of yesterday's. Apa tu? Third benefit. Let's take this as that lah. If you can do this as an appendix. I'm planning for the book. So these are all my contents that I'm giving for the book. Yeah, any? What was I saying? Before that? Huh? Yes. The darkness part, what was I talking about? Yeah, then after that I said something. Clarity. Yes, correct. Books cannot teach you this. Academic pursuit cannot teach you this. But it is your association with your Shaykh that actually brings this out in your heart. So example, when you learn Al-Quran, etc., yes, it affects the heart. Yes, it does. So to Guru Quran, your Quran teacher, it brought you from one darkness, the inability to read Al-Quran, to be able to read the holy book, alhamdulillah. But, let's say also with your teacher that taught you fiqh, right? It brings you to a clarity from not being able to relieve yourself from minor impurity and major impurity to be able to be state of purity as a passport for you to be able to pray, to worship Allah. Tahara, according to our Shafi'i teachers, is like a passport that allows you to pray, allows you to worship. Aqidah, these are teachers that taught you about your sifat 20, etc. These are all important. It brings you from one darkness of not knowing Allah in a scholarly way to knowing Allah so that your akal can also rationalize this. Ghaib, that you cannot see. But your Shaykh, your Murshid, right? He is the one that taught you with all of these sciences, is encapsulate in La ilaha illallah, the dhikr that you do, and through the dhikr, he guides you out from your states of anxiety, depression, deception, we said yesterday. What else? Did you write down the list that I said yesterday? No, not the benefit. I mentioned some ill effects of anxiety. Irrational guilt. Lagi apa lagi? Yes, those are the effects of the dhikr that you get when you do this. And so if you go back to yesterday's video, I gave a list of all of the synonyms of anxiety. So don't just think anxiety is a state of you're not able to function. That's actually the end. Anxiety has already gripped you. You can't get out of it. These are the effects that comes before. And these are the things, the attributes that are also very linked to narcissism. Like the beginning of this year, I believe, or was it last year, I was talking about the narcissism epidemic, right? Amira, you have the book. And I encourage all of you to read this book called The Narcissism Epidemic. How narcissism is actually widespread. And tell you the truth, is more widespread than we think it is. It's like a variant that is in all of us, but we don't realize it. And there are spectrums of it, of course. So this is because of the lack of empathy that one did not get while growing up, because maybe, the world is such. It's very dunya. So parents cannot function as parents because they are now what? They have to find dunya. You can't blame them. But in a way, this is why khanqa exists. How do we function with empathy, although we have the needs of dunya? That's where sometimes people have the wrong understanding of the guru, the shaykh, the murshid, your guide cannot replace your parents. You get what I'm trying to say? Cannot. And this is because yesterday I was talking to someone and we were discussing about this as well, about some other people. But, of course, Imam al-Ghazali has mentioned that your shaykh is like your spiritual father. Right? There's many mentions about this as well. But it is not an escape route from your real father. Modern day people, because of the narcissism, they use this as a way to escape from their real parent issues. Right? So then that becomes more complicated. Instead of dealing with the ego, you're now amplifying the ego. Instead of dealing with the whispers of the nafs, you're giving in to it. Instead of dealing with the whispers of shaitan, we followed it. Instead of dealing with the love of the world, we then become drowned in it like the quicksand. So what happened is, we must understand, the shaykh is there. Remember his good deeds as a way of you to be connected with your shaykh. And that is to bring you out from these four traps that can come out and manifest as a self-deception, as a guilt, as fear. There's a lot of fear, as irrational fear. Like that's the word yesterday we used. Irrational fear, the inability to be just. So you don't always do the right things. You end up always making a lot of mistakes and creating a lot of what is perceived as problems in your life. So you go like, how can I have a shaykh, I have all these problems? Because the light is coming, is asking you to let go of all of these darknesses, but we're still gripped on it, at least at a cognitive level. Dia tak nak let go sini. But it's working on the heart, so it becomes a struggle now. So your sohbah with your murshid must bring you what? Number one, clarity about this. Sekarang dah faham. If you dah faham, then there is already connection. Because this connection is not only at an intellect level, but you've understood it here at the level of the heart, because these are problems of the heart. You see, you understand what I'm trying to say? Some other things is that you have a strong feeling in our heart about the knowledge that you've received. So it impacts you not just at the mind, but it impacts you where? At the heart. And this is what it means. يعني أنه يزيل الهم والغم عين القلب عن قلبي. So it descends into the heart and it gets away all of this anger and this anxiety that the heart feels. Zikr can do that, but dhikr that you receive from your shaykh, whether you've taken the bay'ah or not, let's say you've received the ijazah as well, that is also a form of connection with the shaykh. then when you receive this, there is the barakah. So that's why people say it's best to receive a bay'ah or ijazah. Reason being because of this connection. That you're able to recall the goodness for you, and then there is an effect where the imprint is left in the heart. So now the knowledge, ilm min al-sudur ila sudur, knowledge is from heart to heart. You get what I'm trying to say? So we're moving now from the effects of anxiety. Where are the effects? Here. Because it's how you perceive yourself, a self-deception. To the cure. Where's the cure? Here. And through whom that you receive this cure? Your Shaykh, who tells you, okay, in your heart, nanti you buat zikir, nanti this light will come. This is how you do your zikir. And then you spend time with him, and then you notice the good deeds or the goodness that he does, and you receive it. And when you keep remembering that, what happens is you're increasing the presence in the heart. Like I've mentioned, right? There is 3 aspects of the self that is very important. It's not Imam Ghazali's 4. This is another one that has to do with suluk dhikr. Number 1 is the physical body, the breath, and the subtle body. I've mentioned this maybe a week or so ago, right? And in this, it is made up of what? We're made up of atoms and small molecules, etc. So what we must do is we must be able to make dhikr even at the lowest level, that smallest level of particles, zarrah. Because you'll be recorded even for a small atom of a good work that you do. Now imagine if the small atom that you do at the level of nasut is to be connected to the people of Salihin who have traversed the path and achieved to Malakut, Jabarut, Lahut, Hahut, and Mahabbah, divine love. Of course, in the silsila, it's not the only the living, but those who have passed away, they're still alive. So when you're connected with people of nasut, and then you get only nasut, which is the darknesses. But if you connect with people from Malakut while you're in Nasut, it brings you out, min al-dhulumati ila an-nur, into their heart. And from that heart, from Malakut, there are people in the chain who are already at Jabarut. They bring you up into the level of Jabarut. And then Lahut. And then Hahut. And then to feel the most strongest of love is from Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sahbihi wa baraka wa sallam. So while you connect and while you're doing your dhikr, you're also inheriting this. So it's not just, okay, I open the book, I do this zikr, then you do, how come don't have lah? That's why in Wirid al-Salam, I always begin with Al-Fatiha first. Because it's not just a process of morning and after evening's adhkar, but it is also a time for you to connect back with the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The one through whom you receive the adhkar. You get what I'm trying to say? So when we do this, we're receiving that. So there is the strong feeling in the heart. Sometimes you don't have to sit with the Shaykh to take a lot of knowledge, but you are able to observe the Shaykh in the work that he does. That is enough. Of course, you go out and seek knowledge. Seek knowledge. There's so many teachers out there who are teaching. That's why I encourage all my students to go out. Some go study here, go study there. But your strong feeling with your connection with your Shaykh is very important, because this is what you need for suluk. So even if, let's say, you have not been able to take much knowledge from your Shaykh, but you're able to acquire a strong feeling in the heart, then that is safe for you in your journey, in your suluk, inshallah. What more if through that you're connected with the jama'ah? Now what happens here? Through zikr, we have a jama'ah. And this jama'ah now is making dua for each other. I mean, we're just saying this for the sake of knowledge, and Allah knows best. Who did this? The Shaykh. So there is one goodness of the Shaykh that has now become it has become a community that you benefit from. So that's the other thing that you can look at. Yeah, through this I've benefited from. And the more you do this, the more you realize, hey, I'm actually very connected with him more than I realize, even though if I have not taken the bay'ah. You get what I'm trying to say? These are very important. And then, And then there's deep benefit to our minds and our hearts. What is this deep benefit? It's just like this, the dhikr. It takes away the anxiety. It takes away the worry. It takes away the anger. It takes away the four enemies, the ego, the love of the nafsu, the love of the world, and shaitan. Because now you have a bearing, you see. It's not just your amal. This is where it becomes different. Amal is that, okay, now I do amal. I get, mithal, I feel very depressive. I do my amal. How come I still feel depressive? Because there's amal without the connection. But if you're able to connect, and then you're able to receive the goodness, the good deeds, then what happens is the amal itself becomes an inheritance. Even if you don't do it, you receive the barakah from the Shaykh, from the lineage. If not from the Shaykh, from the lineage. Who is the lineage? The Prophet ﷺ. An-Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. An-Nabi, Sayyidina Abu Bakr, Sayyidina Ali, Sayyidina Salman al-Farsi, all Imam Hassan al-Basri, all these great awliya whose amal is enough to last us. You know, I mean, trying to say, some of them do 4,000 raka'at a day, some of them do 100 raka'at a day. There's so many good deeds in this lineage. So when you're connected to it, you're also connected to their good deeds. You're inheriting that. That is more powerful than doing the amal with the ego. Because what happens is through that process, you're eliminating yourself. You're eliminating yourself. You're eliminating your own nafsu. You're eliminating your love of the world and shaitan. There's no room for you now here because it's the presence of the pure love that we inherit from the hearts of these people. So that's why they say even if the Shaykh is in the east and you're in the west, if you are connected, you're connected. Now working at a atom molecule level, everything vibrates, but we know this science, right? But the problem is, it's either vibrating with anxiety or it's vibrating with mahabbah. If it's vibrating with anxiety, then naturally it will attract more anxiety. If it's vibrating with mahabbah, it will attract what? Mahabbah. This is not law of attraction. Law of attraction, they use it to attract parking space. Right? Oh, I can't find a parking space, so I attract this. This is the connection. Zikru Salihin Tanazzilu Rahmah. And this is what it's meant as barakah. Why? Because the definition of barakah is yazda, yani it increases. Barakah increases. Anxiety depletes. What does it deplete? Iman. Because there's no room. You see, I know there's a lot of new asatizas that say, anxiety has nothing to do with faith. This has nothing to do with faith. Nothing has nothing to do with faith, apparently, in this day and age. But if you look at the Imam Bayhaqi wrote a book on the furu of Iman. It seems that everything has to do with faith. Right? Imam Bayhaqi has a book that talks about the branches of faith. Everything has to do with faith. Even removing the smallest thorn in the pathway has to do with faith. So that other people are not stepping on the thorn. If that small thing has to do with faith, how can our problems with our own self have nothing to do with faith? Right? These are the people who are like what, they're like a small flower is trying to grow, but is being blocked by a stone above it. Now it cannot receive the what? The sunlight. What's going to happen to the flower? It wilt and it will die. Whereas people who are connected and who do dhikr and understand that every aspect of their life has to do with faith are people who are basking in the sun. The generosity of the sun is such. It shines to everything, but if you choose to be under the stone, right, and not wanting to get the heat and the light to grow, then what can you do? That's your own ego. That's your own ego. You choose to grow there. Allah has shown it everywhere. There's no biasness. He shines it in Africa, in China, in Malaysia, in Indonesia, in Singapore, in Alaska, or go much lesser, but he still shines it there. Wherever he shines it, are you open enough to be receiving it, or do you want to hide under the stone? Right. So that sunlight represents the goodness that is being brought by the shiur. Because the more you bask in it, the more you are reminded, yeah, Allah, the sunlight is very important. I get solar energy. You can run my this, can run my that. Yeah, with this sunlight now, I can use it to cook food nowadays. People in Pakistan, Afghanistan doing that. Solar energy, you don't know what. Abdullah showing you. Although I think it's very leceh. Dry my clothes without using a dryer, that's very harmful. Dryers are harmful because it's static. Right? The sun is natural. No, easy. Dryer, then your clothes become shrinking. Then it's always static. Oh, you feel the static? Right? It's not natural. The sun is very mashallah. But have we ever sat down and think about how generous the sun has been? Or we're always complaining, panas, nasib baik hujan. That's what we always do, no? We always complain, so hot. Oh, it's so hot, on the aircon. Like, that's how Prophet ﷺ said, don't curse the sun. Don't curse, in a way, don't curse the weather. So today is that, number one, how do you know if you've received the connection with your Shaykh? Or the Shaykh that you have received your zikr from is the clarity that he gives you in the heart. That's very, very important. The ability to differentiate whether it's your ego, your nafsu, the whispers of shaitan, and the love of the world, that is one of the signs that there is barakah that is being put in. Itu berkat dia. Without barakah, you cannot grow. Without barakah, you cannot walk on the path. Mustahil. There are people who say, we don't need barakah. There are people who say that we are not here just to collect barakah. We're here to have ma'rifah. What? Ma'rifah is there if there's no barakah in your life. That's why your life has no ma'rifah, no barakah, no nothing. Arrogance. But if you have barakah, Allah will give you ma'rifah, inshallah. How to talk about ma'rifah? Right? When you're still stuck in the darkness of nasut. When you have not allowed the Shaykh to hold your hand to bring you out of nasut, this corporal world. So when you've received this, don't use your own assessment on yourself. That could be a self-deception. But assess yourself via the state of your heart. So some people say, how come my dunya still, I haven't get promotion. I take bay'ah already, still no promotion. You take bay'ah for promotion, there are people like that. You take bay'ah for this reason, that reason, okay, fine. But you not get you get that maybe, inshallah, but you won't get anywhere else. It's better if you take the bay'ah to remove yourself from the darkness, min al-dhulumati ila nur. So when you have that connection, the first thing, the barakah is being put into your heart. When the heart has the barakah, these are the effects. The clarity, the connection, the ability to remind yourself that there is goodness that's coming, or the goodness of the Shaykh, and then the ability to have depth of understanding in your heart and in your mind. Then when you have that, then you can use this connection to always refine yourself. And the connection is a very basic, the beginning is to remind yourself of the goodness that has been done by the Shaykh upon you and upon the people around you. And when you keep reminding yourself that, you will see the connection will grow, inshallah. Ya khair, so alhamdulillah, and that's just as as an explanation about that, how dhikrullah removes the ham, all of the illusions, the self-anxiety, one word, in the self. And what more if you're doing dhikr with the connection from your Shaykh? So you need to understand how this connection is going to be manifested within yourself, and that location is in your heart. And you receive that clarity in that mind, then itulah berkat. That is the barakah. That is the barakah. Once you're able to identify that barakah that you receive from the silsila, from the lineage, from An-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, inevitably it is from Allah. There's no discussion about this. We already understood this. Then can we how do I say this? Talk about moving forward. So once you have it, you need to be able to, how do I say this? Preserve this. Moving forward, I will talk about the big things like ma'rifah, wahdatul wujud, how do I this and that. Itu semua tak ada kalau ini berkat tak ada. Understand? And trust me, there are people out there that are preaching this. We're not here, we're not barakah mongers, we're not cheerleaders. We are people who want ma'rifah. Ma'rifah apa you ada kalau berkat guru tak ada? What kind of ma'rifah would you have if you don't have the barakah of your teacher? And the barakah of teacher is not about, I need to please him no, it's not that. It's about having good thoughts. Serving the teacher, that's another level altogether. That's khidmah. Okay, mashallah, that's for people who are even more ready. They want to go even more, okay. But the very basic minimum is to have good thoughts. Once you have this, you train yourself this way, can you then have good thoughts for your own parents, your neighbors, the people around you, the situation that Allah puts you in your life, and good thoughts eventually for whom? Allah. Then you're doing proper dhikr. You see? So this is very important, this message today. I hope you're able to remind your fellow brothers and sisters about this. It doesn't matter which tariqah you're in. For our mashaykh, for our tariqahs, I think you can remind the brothers and sisters, have you heard today's sohbah? If you have not, then take a good listen to it, inshallah. Right? Because it is important message, inshallah. And at the end of the day, you have always good thoughts of the Prophet ﷺ. It comes naturally. It comes naturally. You don't even have to do it. You don't have to put a lot of effort in it. It comes naturally if you start at the very bottom with your own teacher, your own murshid. Understand? Any questions since there's a physical, you all are here? No questions? All hungry already? And thirsty? Okay. If there are no questions, alhamdulillah, the two things that the people who are fasting, they look forward to, what are they? Iftar and meeting Allah. You see? So you're looking forward to iftar dulu. But if we don't iftar and we meet Allah, that's, mashallah, even higher grade of sa'im, of those who are fasting. Like the great companions, mashallah. Most of them, all of them are in the state of fasting, and they are all martyrs, mashallah. Mashallah. May we receive that barakah as well, inshallah. So, if there are no questions, inshallah, I hope all of you have benefited from today's short sohbah, but I hope the depth has brought in more mahabbah, more connection, more understanding about how do we understand muridhood in that sense, and what differs it from going to madrasah. Right? It's a totally different. Going madrasah lain lah kan? Pergi madrasah, mudir, mudira, apa, and then what does the ustad say, must memorize. Here is a bit different, it's very different. It trains you here. But once you're trained here, it actually amplifies the religious knowledge that you already have. Because it brings out the love, which is really important. Not just the rote learning of it, or the rigor of it, but the love of it. That, then like what I've always said, lovers don't get tired. Because they are constantly receiving that mahabbah from their shaykh. Because they always think good about, he has done this good, he's doing this good, he has done this good, An-Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam has done this good, his shaykh has done this good, this good, this good. That's why we have the urus, to remind ourselves of the goodness they have done. And that increases the connection between you and your shaykh, inshallah. So, I'd like to thank all of you, and if you like to do support the Khanqa, do make a gift via the PayNow number 86682295, inshallah. And we'd like to thank all of you for your kind generosity and contribution. May Allah reward all of you. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you. Salam.